Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Karman with the Tennessee Beef Council, and we're back with another 12 days of beef, a great recipe for the holidays. Today I'm making a spicy beef chorizo breakfast strata. It's basically a delicious egg bread breakfast casserole that you can serve your family, whether it's for a Christmas brunch, maybe the day after Christmas, when you're tired of being in the kitchen, you can prep this ahead of time, have it ready to go, and it's very easy. So this recipe is from bewithwhatsfordinner.com, and we'll include a link to the recipe in the comments below. But to start, we're just preheating our oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to make a Mexican style beef sausage. So this is a great way to use some ground beef to recreate something that is similar to sausage as far as the flavorings go. So we have 1 pound of 93% lean ground beef here in a mixing bowl, and I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. And then we're going to add in a lot of great dried spices. So we have some oregano, and we just need 1.5 teaspoons of dried oregano. We also are using chili powder, and I need 1.5 teaspoons of chili powder. It already smells really good. I love chili powder. And we're also using some smoked paprika, 1.5 teaspoons of that as well. Smoked paprika really makes a difference. It has that smoky flavor, so it's very different from traditional paprika. And then also just some garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. All right. And now we're just going to mix all of this together. The recipe calls for some chipotle chili powder as well, but I didn't have any on hand, so I'm just leaving that out this time. But that would also be a wonderful addition if you had it on hand. So while I mix this together, just to combine the spices, I'm preheating a skillet over medium heat, and we're going to cook our beef sausage until it's no longer pink. Just want to make sure you work in the spices, but we don't want to mix too much on our beef mixture here. So that looks pretty good. Yeah. My skillet is almost hot enough. I don't usually coat my skillet for instances like this. You could add a little bit of cooking spray if you'd like, but it's not really necessary in this recipe. So we're going to cook the ground beef, and then we'll be adding in some diced red bell pepper and some spinach as well. All right, so let's go ahead and put this into our skillet. That's what we like to hear. And of course, just break it into small pieces. So hopefully you've seen our other videos during our 12 Days of Beef campaign. And hopefully you've already signed up for the giveaway, which is a roasting pan, roasting rack gift card for a beef roast for this holiday. If you haven't signed up yet, you can, of course, go ahead and do that on our website, tnbeef.org. We'd love to help you celebrate Christmas or even New Year's with a beef roast. All right, so while that cooks, we're just gonna wait a few minutes on that. So when it comes to making a strata, it involves bread cubes. And this recipe calls for French bread, about 8 cups of French bread cubes. I just got a loaf of bread and it wasn't quite dry enough yet, so I turned my oven on to about 250 degrees and just cubed my bread, put it on a baking sheet, and let it dry in the oven for maybe 10 minutes. So that's a quick way. You need stale bread or day-old bread. But you don't have it, you can create it by using your oven. And so yeah, the main difference between a frittata or a quiche and a strata is the strata includes the bread cubes, whereas a frittata has no crust, no bread, and a quiche involves a pie crust. But they're all great options when it comes to serving brunch. Okay, we're looking good here. You'll also need a 9 by 13 baking dish. I've already sprayed mine with some cooking spray, so that's important to have ready to go. And now while this continues to cook, we're just gonna make the egg mixture here. And so I have 6 eggs that I've already whisked together. I'm gonna put that into a mixing bowl. We have 2 cups of milk and we need some salt. We have half a teaspoon of salt. All right. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. All right. And we will whisk all of that together. Perfect. Easy enough to do that. We will be adding some cheese to our breakfast strata. This cheese just makes everything better. So we have just some shredded Monterey Jack cheese. We're going to put a cup into the casserole itself, the strata, and then before we put it into the oven, we will sprinkle on some more cheese. All right, this is looking really good. So this breakfast sausage recipe is just a good thing to kind of keep in your back pocket because it's quick, easy, has lots of great flavor. And when you use the 93% lean ground beef, that's a great added benefit from a nutrition standpoint that you're getting that lean ground beef, plus all the other vitamins and minerals that we know beef has. All right. So it is almost done here. And next we're going to add in the spinach. As I mentioned earlier, we have about 2 cups of spinach, and then we have 1 cup of diced red bell pepper. You could also use orange or yellow bell pepper if you have that on hand already, green as well, but it's just nice to get some difference in color there since we're using the spinach. All right, so turn my heat down and throw in those bell peppers and our spinach. Just let this cook for a couple of minutes, cook down the spinach. All right. And as I mentioned, this is a recipe that you could make in advance the night before. So you prep all of your ingredients and then you can let it sit in your baking dish overnight in the fridge for about up to 8 hours. Then in the morning, preheat your oven to 350 degrees and bake it for 40 minutes. So the perfect thing to have maybe on Christmas morning. It's always good to have a little something before we go off and have meals with our friends and family. All right, that looks beautiful. I love all the colors. Red and green, perfect for Christmas. Okay, so now that we have our egg mixture all together in this bowl here, I'm going to add in my bread cubes. And so this is about 8 cups of cubed French bread. So I dried mine out in the oven. If you had some stale bread, that would work well here. We'll just mix this together. Add in our 1 cup of cheese. This is where you'll want your big mixing bowl to mix everything together. All right, that looks great. Now I will add in the sausage mixture with the spinach, bell pepper. You may have gotten some water loss from some of that spinach as well, so I'm using my spatula, like a slotted spoon would work well for this too, just to minimize any extra juices from getting in there. We don't want it to be too liquidy. Just a little extra in here. Okay. Combine all of this before we pour it into our baking dish. So you can also kind of think of a strata as like a savory French toast casserole. I've done the strata before. Similar to this, I've done more of a sweet version. That's also a good option. All right, into a baking dish it goes. Just kind of spread it out into a thin layer, this so you can kind of see better. Dispersing those vegetables around. All right. So that came together super quick. It looks great. We're just going to add a little more extra cheese. If you wanted to use a different type of cheese, you certainly could. Add in about a half cup on top. We already have the 1 cup that's mixed in, and we will cover this with aluminum foil and bake in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 minutes. So we'll come back and check this in 40 minutes. All right, so our spicy beef chorizo breakfast strata is done baking. It was in the oven for 40 minutes at 350 degrees. And then I took the aluminum foil off and we let it continue to bake for about 10 minutes. Get real fluffy, kind of golden brown on top. And I've added some green onions just as a garnish, but this smells amazing. It looks so good. And I know that your family would also love this recipe any time of year, but a great brunch or breakfast option during the holiday season. Thanks for watching this video, and remember to tune in tomorrow for our next 12 Days of Beef video.